lessons learned from Helene and Milton. They were kind of back to back. One, we found out the facilities found out that their evacuation location was not suitable, did not have the space, um, or in some cases it was across the state, and the transportation time across the state was um, exceedingly long. Yeah, and failed to have appropriate medication or oxygen provided to the residents in transport.
Yeah, didn't have the food, the water during the transportation because it was over 4 hours. It was just in some situations, some facilities, it was just a disaster. Because staffing, they put them on buses and sent them across the state without staffing. Nobody to take care of them. So please don't do that. Um, make sure that you're aware of the situation. You have your plan in place. Everybody knows their duties and responsibilities. Um, uh, you know which patients are going where. You got to keep up with all that. But when patient relocation, uh, where also you got to make sure that if you're going to defend in place, stay at your facility. If you're not evacuating, think about your water situation. We have had a situation where the facility ran out of water. They run, so because they did not adhere to the requirements of 3 gallons per person uh, for the Florida Building Code that requires that for emergencies. There's just so much that's required whenever you're taking care of these vulnerable residents, that they can't defend for themselves. So you're there taking charge, and you're going to make sure that you ensure that they're provided safe travels, and also are being taken care of both physically and mentally and medically. So this is something very important, and there are some new things coming out with our. We're going to have a new team that's going to be going around and checking emergency preparedness throughout the state. There's more information probably be sent out that later on. Miss Kim Smoke is working on a situation now. We do have an emergency response command trailer now, and a group of our staff will be relocated or pre-staged during a hurricane event. So this is new, where we can go out and assess facilities once the storm has passed, and we'll be checking in on you. And don't get upset when maybe there's 2 or 3 times during a day other AHJ authorities or that will come to your facility besides us. So take it serious, and just make sure that your generators function properly. You've got your fuel contracts. You got 76 hours of fuel on site and the capability for 96 hours. All these things you got to keep in mind. We don't want no fatalities this year, so because of negligence. So please do your due diligence and take care of these residents. And that's all we ask for.
Also, administrators, think of your staff. They're asked to, if you've got to evacuate, and if it's a great distance, you got to think of, you know, how are you accommodating them and possibly their family as well, because they may not be able to leave because of family. So those all have to be taken into consideration. Um, it's very important that the HFRS system is that you update your information, because if you're showing on generator power, um, life safety is going to be there every day checking on your facility. So it's important that you keep that updated. Once you get back to normal power, we'll come back out one more time to verify everything and just do a walkthrough. And then, we're not trying to, you know, meddle. We're not trying to, look for things to cite. We're just there to provide assistance. you know, we've had some cases where they were having trouble getting fuel, you know, up in the Panhandle area, and you know, a quick call to Kim, and you know, next thing we know, we've got fuel trucks rolling. So um, you are required to have the 72 hours of fuel on site for diesel, and the ability to extend to 96 hours within 24-hour notice. We hope for the best and you know expect the worst. Make sure our generators are up and running. Number one, that the maintenance is you know up to par. It's been done, hasn't been pushed off. That we have sufficient fuel. Make sure that you know one of the things that we do when we're doing the generator monitoring is we're verifying the fuel burn calculations based on the kW size of the generator and the fuel tank size. So on the fuel tank size, you have to subtract 20% from the tank size because it, you know, you have to leave 10% on the top for expansion and 10% on the bottom for sediment.
So,
So, you know, you don't have that full, you know, 500 gallons. You got to subtract that 20% off of that to for your usable fuel. Um, so based on your engineering study and what your facility is calculated to run at, if it's at 35% or you know or greater or whatever the number is, we're going to figure that into the fuel burn calculation to verify that you have sufficient fuel on hand. And that's something the facility should be doing ahead of time as well.